Hello, everyone. I am joining you from the past. I'm pre-recording this week ahead reading for December 29th through January 5th. And I'm going to be using two different card decks today. Card number one is from the Moonchild Tarot deck. And card number two is from the Moonology Manifestation Oracle deck. So two different decks, two different types of cards. I have pre-drawn them, as I just mentioned, but as usual, I've kept them face down, so I haven't actually looked at the cards yet. I also did get the nudge that when I do the tarot card, I'll need to read a passage from the book. So that's all I have to start with, but if you want to take an opportunity to intuit which reading may be more applicable to them, I'm going to show each of the cards just a couple times. So here's card number one. And then card number two. You can leave a comment on this video with which card stood out to you right now and whether that panned out when you actually listen to the readings. So again, here's card number one. For number two. And you can also share how the information came through. So whether or not you are familiar with the psychic clairs or are looking to experiment with them, you can just describe what the actual experience was like for you. So one last time, here's card number one. And then number two. All right, so without further ado, and reminder, because it's a pre-recorded video, there won't be a recap because this whole thing is just me sharing in real time. So for the first reading, I'm seeing something being unzipped. It looks like it's a duffel bag or something that contains, and it's very industrial, like it's a big zipper. And normally in general, when I see zippers in some capacity, it has to do with the separation, similar to if I see like Velcro. So is it attached? Is it coming together? Is it coming apart? And this feels like this is about the separation via some sort of a catalyst. So you have the actual, actually, I don't know the part of the zipper, but the zip part, the thing that you hold on to, that is representing the catalyst. And it's just slowly moving down. And then each of the pieces are separating, separating with intention, separating as they're supposed to be separating. So this isn't coming across like, oh no, it's a catalyst for negative change. It's just like, you know what, it feels very, I'll say neutral, but just like, you know what, I guess that's probably what should be happening. There's a little bit of a reckoning feels too strong, but just the acknowledgement, the recognition that, okay, I guess this not necessarily has to come to an end. Maybe that does apply for you, but that it's parting ways, and parting can be temporary. As we know with the zipper, it can always go back up and reconnect. I'm already getting to flip the card over, and then they'll want me to jump right away into the passage. Don't say anything else after the card. Okay. Oh, Seven of Cups. Whoa, super washed out. I'll just describe it, and then I will jump right to the passage before I comment on this. So Seven of Cups, there's 7 goblets on here. Each of them contain a different item. So there's crystals, different gems, gold, etc. All right, before I add my commentary, this is the difference between forging pathways in your mind or truly deciding to pave your way forward in the real world. The context for this, you're like, what on earth does that mean? This card is about choices. So there's a sense of abundance. We have options. I think this makes a lot of sense with the original visual that came through is, okay, this thing is transpiring. We are in response to it going, okay, well, this is the course forward. And then it's a series of events of what we decide to do. but also it being like a mixed bag. Normally, also with this card, it's associated with Neptune energy. So it was talking, it talks a little bit about like what your reality is. And so it's what is your perception? So are all of these seven options actually good ones? So the real world piece is bringing up the reality. So is it fantasy? Is it imagine? Is it what we think or hope it would be? There's rainbows on this card, a little hard to see because it's super bright. It's a field opening up in front of us. So we have free range, we have opportunities. The world is our oyster. We have the choices of what we can pick, of what we can do next. And I'm getting like not like making sure that you are picking like good apples and getting like good apples, like you not biting and then it's a worm. So similar to the illusion piece. Is it actually good? Is that actually a good choice? We think it's a healthy choice because it's an apple, but it's a rotten apple. So we are being incredibly mindful about the decision, about the pathway. The passage was saying the pathway, the route that we are choosing now that this separation is happening, because we could choose to, okay, well, this chapter is coming to a close, maybe just temporarily. I'm going to run off and do this now because now I'm separate. And then we could kind of go wild in a way that's not helpful, or we could regress. So there's a lot of routes, it seems, that people could react to this in a very, very different way. And they are indicative of your relationship with yourself and your current health and lifestyle. So, like, what is your relationship with how you are living your life? How um, comfortable, secure that you feel in your life would dictate the type of response that you have. So, that is what gives us really the next steps, checking ourselves and saying, all right, well, if my impulse reaction is to do this, what does that say about how I am existing and coexisting in this life? And you can always choose a different option. You can adjust and not go for the rotten apple or go for the candy. You can choose the orange. For reading number two, it looks like a pogo stick bouncing up and down. And it's almost like, okay, then the next bounce, you're like shooting up into the atmosphere. It's like a rocket. The pogo stick becomes a rocket in a sense. And it feels circumstantial. It doesn't feel like it's because we're doing anything differently or that we have changed anything in our behavior or our intention or use of it. So something that's occurring, that's shifting in our environment. And that feels really supportive, like, oh, yay, this is awesome. I am flying into the atmosphere. This is amazing. What a great view, but there's no oxygen up here. Like, it feels like there's another side to that coin, kind of like what we are talking about with the apple of, oh, the apple like looks good, but then there's a worm in it. This is like, it seems like, oh, we're reaching new heights, but then is the air better up there? Or is the view as good as we thought it was? So there's something also going on with this reading about this perception. Pattern recognition will help us to move through and transition through the adjustment period. One more thing, and then I can flip the card over. So I'm seeing us come down from space. It's returning to a pogo stick. We're landing on the ground. We're stepping off of it. We're holding it. We're inspecting it. Like, what the heck? I thought this just was a pogo stick. Why was it a rocket? And we're choosing to place it down on the ground. And it's like we hop over it. It's kind of reminding me of like in weddings, how people will put like a broom down and then hop over it. It reminds me of that. So it's like this again, it's going into a new chapter. That rocket piece was an opportunity. It was an expander. It was an up level. And it's like we had a test. And if we come back down to Earth and we lay it down and we hop over, it's like we're passing the test. And if we don't do that and we just stay up there, oxygen deprived, then we're not passing it. Like the point is that we're supposed to experience the disillusionment and go, yeah, what is this? That was not what I signed up for. Or not that I'm not ready for this, but I don't need this version of success and growth. And the card that we have, interesting between our two cards here, New Moon and Cancer relax. So new moons are all about new beginnings. So what I was mentioning about hopping over. Our intuition feels like it's like our gut knowing what's right or not. Cancer is a very, very intuitive sign. And I think the relaxing piece is the most like instantly puzzling, where I'm like, what does relaxing have to do with our pogo stick and being up floating in space? It's the remedy. So when we hop over, even laying it down, when we're choosing to lay the pogo stick down, it's like we're putting it into a state of rest because it is inactive. It is no longer in use for us. We're retiring it. And then when we hop over, it feels like more the reminder is it's okay to be a little bit nervous about what's new. And we're just like breathing through it and patting ourselves on the back because it's again indicative of growth that we would turn away from what on the outside seemed like was growth and expansion, but was not actually what we need right now. All right, for our analysis, I'll do quick symbology first. So we have cups, we have Cancer. These are both representing the water element. So I think it makes a lot of sense that there were some commonalities, a thread, a flow, if you will, between the two readings. Also, what kept coming up was this idea of illusion or disillusionment. So I was mentioning Neptune here. Neptune is related to intuition. It is one of the placements that you can look at in astrology for intuition, and then Cancer being a particularly intuitive sign. So we have that thread going on here. And I also really, I'll just say visually, I like the contrast between these two. So we have this super bright, light, colorful rainbow card. And then we have, you won't necessarily be able to see this on here, but it's a very, very dark green and black card. So we have the light, the bright, implication of sun because we have a rainbow, and then we have darkness. And the fact that in the second reading, we were floating up to space, like this does have a starry sky on it, so that was like a nice touch. And then, oh, I just realized this. I mentioned in the first reading, instead of picking the candy or the apple, you could pick orange, and orange is the background color on this card. So, okay, I did have like a main piece, imagery-wise, with the backdrop for both of them. As far as the messages, what came through as I was channeling is this theme of the pattern. So something that we've experienced that has happened before. And in both of them, we are making a choice. So in the first one, we have this separation. It's a thing that's happening. Same thing here. We had a thing that's happening, which is our pogo stick became a rocket. So both of them, something happens. In this case, it's an ending or a for now separation. A second one, it's growth or expansion. But for both of them, we have to choose how we respond. So for the first one, what do we do now that we have freedom or space or time? How can we harness that? so that if we want to grow, if we're intersecting these, we want to grow, or just call some of our energy back or lean into abundance, there's a lot of ways that can go right and some ways that that can go wrong. And then for this one, our choice is to be mindful enough, to be present enough, to recognize that there is an illusion that's going on, or that it's not as good as we think it is or thought it would be. We're recognizing the worm in the apple from this first reading. We're recognizing that and going, pass. And then it allows us to start something new. So again, lots of interweaving between these, but the differences are separation and freedom of choice of what we do after that. And then this one is growth was the main thing. It's the growth. And then part of the growth being, I'm going to choose to grow, but not in that way. And we're starting a new beginning. So this has a lot of that beginning energy. And this is more like implicitly, it's like, oh, we're on a new chapter, but it's based on circumstance. A lot of the new beginning here is from our own choice and part of what we're deciding to do. So there's agency in both of them, but this one is centered around us as the individual and what we're doing. We're here. Most of the visuals I was getting, I know I didn't really specify this before, but with the separation, I did feel like this was more people-based. Like it could be something in a relationship or a behavior, and maybe that involves other people or could be enabled by other people, but there's something about larger group or community or connection in the first reading, where the second reading felt like it was just about us and like what our growth is and what it is that we're doing. So I spoke about this a little bit already, about how the two of these readings could intersect. Let's say you're choosing to separate. Maybe it's ending a relationship or taking time away from, let's say, workaholism. That's the one that's popping into mind. Okay, something has come up. Maybe it's a job loss. Maybe it's a lack of promotion. And so there's a disillusionment. And so we're like, I'm taking time away. Have I been working way too hard and I'm not getting the return? Just some examples. You have that response and you're deciding, okay, well, what could I do instead? I'll go with this workaholism example. Okay, I'm going to put in some PTO. That's one option. Is that the candy? Or is that the apple if you've been working a lot? Time will tell, and it depends on your approach and how you do it. Setting different boundaries at work. That's another choice. Is that the apple? Is that the orange? Depends on how you set the boundaries and what they are. And for the second reading, let's say from there, you're like, okay, I thought I was growing, and actually I didn't. I didn't get promoted. I was kind of led to believe this was going to pan out. I know that I've worked really hard and I'm here and I'm seeing a lot of things, but then I'm also seeing the forest for the trees. I'm seeing the inner workings of the machine and how this company is operating. And then I'm coming back down to earth. And then I'm saying, all right, well, I could decide that my new chapter is I don't want to work here anymore. Or I want to completely shift my work-life balance. Like how, not that you're not putting effort in, but like how you're putting the effort in, what it is that you're doing, how it is that you're connecting with people. Like when you go to work, that you're, again, taking more time that's just for you, or to like realign with yourself and with what your goals are, with what your wishes, your hopes are. It could also be that you are deciding to approach your work in a more intuitive, laid back, relaxed, creative, water sign way. And instead of having the work like ruling you, or like or rocketing you up on a certain trajectory, and you're like, whoa, wait, that's actually misaligned. And I want to have a whole new approach to how I am going into work, what I am working on, how I'm interacting, how I'm leaving it at the door, what I'm doing with my boundaries for it. And so it's more than just turning over a new leaf, but I'll say that just in more simple terms that, okay, I'm now going to do pretty much everything differently than what I was doing before. That's the feeling of this. Like it's so much bigger than just these are some of the steps. So, again, I digress, but for it being combined and in this example that I'm intuiting, that you have a lot of choices about actions that you could take, but the biggest action of all is the fundamental reworking, the reconnection back to yourself, your intuition, your ability to unwind, which oftentimes comes with setting boundaries. It's a lesson that Cancer needs, that Cancer struggles with. Thank you for being here, for listening. Let me know in the comments, or send me a message on social, or send me an email. All details linked in my bio with how these readings resonate. If you feel that you're someone who rides the line between the two of them, or you're more in one, or you're more in the other. And you can also go back and watch previous weeks of readings. They date all the way back to mid-February 2025. And reminder that I do have, I actually reposted it earlier today. I do have a collective reading that I recorded back in June. So you can just find that on my channel. If you type in collective in the search bar, it will come up. But I did a few different collective readings in 2025, and one of them is still active. The others have come and gone, the windows. But this one runs from June to February. And I was reminded of this today, and I went back and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, wow, this message is really landing. So if that's something else that you want to listen to as we are wrapping this year up, you can check that out. And also a reminder that my 2026 calendar is out and available. Maybe you missed gifting it to somebody. That's okay. You can gift it to yourself. It's a great time to get it right before the new year is starting. And you can use it for all of 2026 for receiving guidance. So I have channeled messages that are in there. I have channeled self-care days and specific practices to do on them, astrological transits, packed with information. I was just updating it. I spent many hours updating it now, well before you're hearing this, expanding the content that's in there. So a lot of the passages that you click on are pretty robust. They give you super clear instructions. Here's where you look in your chart. Here are days to look back at in the calendar, days to look forward to, and then details around what to expect for those transits, how to work with them, a little bit of interpretations broadly, and then of course you layer that onto your own chart. And that comes with a guidebook where you can pull cards for your 2026. You can pull a card for each month and then put your chart there. And I have journal prompts for new moons and full moons and eclipses, journaling pages, really great resources. And you can get that and start using it ASAP during this week, throughout the year, and whatever you have the bandwidth for. Maybe you're like, oh, that's so wonderful. There's a little guidebook and there's activities, but I don't really have time to do that. You can still get the calendar. You can work on that stuff when you have time, stops and starts, but you still have the calendar and it's integrated into your phone. So you'll get the alerts when the transits are happening. If you want to schedule anything or plan anything, and you're like, hey, I got to schedule this doctor's appointment, you'll see it within your calendar and go, oh, all right, well, this thing is happening that day. And maybe I don't want to plan to have it on that day. Or, oh, what a perfect time. I will definitely schedule it. So you can use it for coordinating with what is going on astrologically. And also you have the previews of all 12 months of my psychic readings. So you have super advanced notice for those of you that have already downloaded it. Like you had months to look ahead and already start scoping out what is going on in 2026, and you can use those forecasts to better understand, okay, what's my energy going to be doing during these times, and navigating from there. I'll link in the description if you would like to buy one or gift one. And otherwise, you can go to the link in my bio for my shop and you can get it there. But for whatever you see this, maybe it's before the new year, maybe it is after the new year if you're watching after the fact or towards the end of this week in reflection. Happy Gregorian calendar new year for those who celebrate the astrological new year, the energetic new year that's coming up in March. But culturally, we still have this new year. So I will say Happy New Year to you. And yeah, if you would like to know more about your year ahead, other great ways to do that are to get a psychic reading, to get an astrological reading, and I offer those services as well on my website. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will be back live next week on Insight Timer after some time off. This week, I will be doing a live meditation and journaling session on January 2nd in the morning, Eastern Time. So if you would like to join for that, feel free. I hope to see you there.